And we are off. What's up, everybody? Friday morning. Oh, wait, we're early.
We're not Friday. Not Friday.
So yeah, special edition of Kingdom on the Road this afternoon. Man, what better time to jump in front of the mic and talk than literally the day that on the American calendar is kind of designated for the concept of gratitude. And, this last calendar year has been one for me personally of significant shakeup. I probably had an educated guess with some of the stuff that has transpired that it might take place over the upcoming year, but man, I will tell you, there's a lot that looks mightily different than I thought it would otherwise, and it's pretty categorically for the good. And so, and not to, that we'll get there, but yeah. So I want to start off with the light with the light stuff. We're getting ready to gear up. Different Thanksgiving means different things for different people. So, Ant, walk us through, what does Thanksgiving look like for you?
Thanksgiving for me is family. It's always centered around getting family together. Especially my household. So, I am, a quote unquote empty nester. So, over the last, I don't know, 5 years, Thanksgiving has been pretty different than it was the previous years when the kids were at home. So when the kids are at home, Thanksgiving was at our house. Everybody came to our house, aunts, uncles, everybody brought a plate. You watch football. We take a time of around the table of giving thanks and, what we're thankful for. Kind of typical tradition. Since the kids have been older, we spend Thanksgiving with our son. We usually have visit him because his college was closer, so we would go see him. And then Christmas, we would spend time with our daughter. So, we would go and we would go to her place. So we all go out there. And so this is the time of year where my son, he gets geared up, and so he's entered into the cooking, so he tries to cook a dish, whether it's, a ham or meatloaf or something. He's getting in the hang of cooking a dish to
Nice.
be a part of it. My daughter, she's the baker. She bakes pies, cakes, cookies, that kind of thing. So that's how,
Yeah.
different ones contribute. So this year, she won't be able to make it in town for Thanksgiving. She actually came in the week before. We hung out, did a little family time, and so we'll still spend time with our son for Thanksgiving. He looks forward that every year. So I don't know how we're going to break that tradition once he has a family. Like, is he still going to expect us to come to his house, for Thanksgiving? Probably. I don't know. But yeah, that's kind of what it's been. It's always about family, closeness, spending time together. Usually there's somebody who is not a part of our family or few that we invite over, and they come and they spend Thanksgiving with us because, they don't have any, no family around. Maybe their family's out of state or overseas. So they spend Thanksgiving with us. We always have at least one or two guests that just come and crash the party, and we welcome them in and, pray with them and enjoy the evening with them. So yeah, that's kind of the quick version of, what Thanksgiving's like for us. I can get into the meal selections, but I don't know if you want all that.
So it's man, it's wild to me looking at myself and looking at kind of the prelude to where I'm at now as far as the holiday season, and all of that. I I was not having that tradition, that foundation of it. These days were for years very, very fluid, and especially being in the restaurant business, there
Right.
really wasn't much in the way of like it was a very good it was a very easy means to not have to square the circle of that for a good stretch of time for me. And then before that, it's funny. I've made this joke. I don't know if I've ever made this joke to you, but in college, there was a group of us that we didn't have like family to go to. We were each other's family,
Right.
and during the holidays. And so we swung the doors open and we're like, dude, if you don't have anywhere to go, or if you don't want to
Yeah.
be around your family, come on, like come join us. We tended to go to the movies and go out for a meal because those are the two places that tend to be open on
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanksgiving and Christmas,
Yeah.
and all of that. And so, you know, and I've made the joke that like, dude, I was doing the whole bringing people in and into your home that don't have a home before I was even a Christian.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know, but I don't know what that says. Probably a couple of things, but it's one of those things that for me, it was all I had really seen was like the food tradition of it all. And so for me, it wasn't like a big deal.
Right.
And then 2019 came, I got married, and like we started building traditions for ourselves over the last 3 years. And it's one of the things I have to give credit where credit's due to my older sister. She pretty immediately when her and her husband had kids, they stuck the flag in the ground of like standing up for time, like prioritizing their nuclear family.
Right.
And that was something, getting married, that was something I really believed firmly in. Now mind you, we don't have kids. It's a lot easier for us to go to somebody else's house and go and be and do and go see family and be the ones that are more fluid and all of that
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Cool, no problems. But we always make sure that in the midst of that, we are prioritizing time for us as well and all of that. And so now at this stage of life, I feel like I finally get it. I finally get what other people talk about. I used to think it was very cliche to hear, well, what is Thanksgiving about? Well, Thanksgiving's about family.
Right.
Okay,
Right. But
go write a Hallmark card
right. No,
and
for
call me in
real.
the morning, like for real. But I get it now. You
Yes.
know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's a real thing. I'm glad you said that because it can sound cliche, that Thanksgiving's about family, but it really is, you know, in the sense of, being with one another in a fast-paced life, fast-paced year. Like you said, we're, man, this year is so many things have happened, so many things have
Yeah,
transpired. To have that day off where you can kind of just sit together, eat, if you're into sports, you can watch football, you can watch basketball. A lot of times that's a part of people's tradition. um but sometimes we do board games, and you just do family stuff.
yeah,
Like you said, sometimes we would go to the movies. If there was a good movie, we would go as a family to the movie. That actually was a thing for us as well. And so, and AJ kind of adopted that mindset of, if somebody doesn't have anywhere to go, come over, come
yeah,
over. And so we've had times where, we go down to his apartment, and he's got, 3-4 football players that didn't go home or what have you. And they just come in, and we just, hey, enjoy, eat up,
yeah.
have
Cool.
a good time, and it's a blessing to be a blessing. You feel blessed, you feel satisfied, you feel encouraged, you feel joy in being able to make somebody else feel welcome and at home. And you know for all of the history behind Thanksgiving, and that kind of things that people talk about, the one thing that I think we've always focused on is that, hey, it's an opportunity to take a break from the wind sprints of life
Yeah,
and sit down on the bench and smell the roses, right? And just be with your family, talk about things, and just relax. That's
Yeah.
really the greatest tradition that we've adopted is, hey, this is a time to relax, sit with each other, no drama, no, we're not even in a rush. We're just, spending time.
Yeah. 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 It's one of those things that, yes, there's a lot that can be said, and really, I think for any of the major holidays, you can say
Right.
there's a lot that can be said about the origins of the day and the
Right.
historicity of it all and all of that kind of stuff. And you know what? Spend time in history, respect history enough to sit down at some point in your life and sit in the history of whatever it is. Okay, cool, I'm good with that. But in the uh, everyday level of it all, less, yes, we're talking about in this case a once a year day, but at the application layer, essentially what you have here is a day where most things are shut down, most people are off work, and there's prime opportunity. Whatever, do a turkey, don't do a turkey, have a food tradition, don't have a
Right.
food tradition. But the point
Right.
is that if you can clear away, the drama and hassle of it all, and just come together as a family and spend time, cool. Like, that to me, I'm not gonna begrudge anybody that. That's a magical thing, if under the right circumstances at
Right.
this point, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%, because believe it or not, it is, for a lot of families, it's a lost art.
Yeah.
It's something that doesn't happen anymore.
Mhm.
Families are divided, separated, broken up, estranged from each other. You know, I think for me, um, my Thanksgivings as a child, I remember them, but I don't remember them. And there's two sides to that coin. One of them is that, you know, I remember certain things like Thanksgiving Day morning, right? Whatever your local station was, because I'm originally from Pennsylvania, like you, so Philadelphia. And so the parade, remember, turning, TV being on early, watching the parade or what have you. But I don't really remember the family time. Um, that was something that I don't really remember. Um, as as a parent, I asked my children that, and they remember that vividly. So I felt like I did something good, because in
Yeah.
my I don't remember it, but I wanted them to have that, you know, as something that they could take forward and want, and for their family. Like you said, your older sister stuck the flag in the ground, like, hey, this is what we're gonna do, you know.
Right.
Um, it's probably gonna be my son that becomes that, person that says Thanksgiving is gonna be at my house. So wherever everybody's at, we're gonna fly to his house or drive to his house or whatever that's gonna be. More so than my daughter. Christmas might be her thing. Until whatever, families or stuff like that. So I think at the end of the day, when we think about this, there is a healing, uh, just a healing process of being together as a family. Like you said, it sounds real leave it to beaver, you know, kind of stuff. But hey, I feel like our world is missing that. I
Yep.
think we need a little more leave it to beaver, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's fascinating to me sitting here at this stage of my life, appreciating the white picket fence of it all. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like, I this was not always my life, and the fact that I have a slice of that kind of normal family experience. It's wild to think about, and it's one of those things. I will one up the cornball factor here. You know, we're sitting at a steady like 6, 7. I'm about to notch this thing up to an 8 or a 9. If I really consider what I am honestly thankful for this year, if this is a day, if I do the tradition of this being a time where it is emphasized to focus and to reflect on what you are grateful for, then I have to say Holy Spirit, the effects of
Mm.
the Holy Spirit, because I've said this before and I will say again, it's one of my more I believe wholeheartedly in free will. I really, really do. I just I really do also understand human nature, and the nature of humankind to default to the self without, if there's no other outside circumstance or
Right.
influence. You know what I mean? And so, and that can look a million different ways, and that's where the free will part comes in. But I am not going to. I can't ignore that. And so I look at where I'm at, and I look at where my bubble is at, and I take stock of it. And I can it takes more faith for me to ignore the fingerprints of the Holy Spirit over all of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like I'm one of those people. I get every single reason why so many people don't like the holiday season. I get it. I understand. You are heard. I hear you. I was there. And literally the only reason why I'm not is because of divine intervention. Nothing short of divine intervention. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Things could be a lot different, a lot, yeah, a lot more somber, a lot more tragic, you know. I mean, but like you said, when you think about uh, the goodness of God in your life, and you think about the things that through God's guidance have come to be according to his plan and his will and his purpose, right? You have to pause, you know. And what's interesting, so this is really cool. Thursdays on our prayer line are called Thankful Thursdays. And
Mhm.
so Thanksgiving Day is Thankful Thursday. So when we get up tomorrow and everybody gets on at 6 a.m., because we still get on the prayer line at 6 a.m., it's just a phone call. So we just, you know, hop on, and we spend an hour, first of all, giving what we're thankful for and then praying for one another. That is a brand new cool tradition that's been added to our Thanksgiving Day, that emerged out of the pandemic, you
Yeah.
know, because, you weren't able to get together on the pandemic. And we had this prayer call and like, well, hey, 6 a.m., a lot of ladies, traditional ladies are going to be up cooking anyway. you know, so you can hop on there, have the prayer call going while you're cooking up your yams and you know watching your turkey, whatever, um, and be thankful.
Yeah.
I'm actually really looking forward to that. To be able to,
Awesome.
you know, hop on there with everybody, and give thanks to the Lord, pray for each other, and then break. Everybody go to their families and enjoy the day. It just, I, having, like you said, the Lord as Lord over all of these things is important. You know, when the Bible talks about
Mhm.
one person views this day as special, another person views this day as special, but as a Christian, we live every day unto the Lord, you know, and
Yeah.
so a day that's dedicated to being thankful. I mean, wow. Sign me up if I'm a Christian. That you sign up for that day. You're like, yeah, that's what I'm all about. And so, yeah, I definitely get it.
And that's, you know, I value, it's very clear I value science, right? And there is, I used to, even immediately after becoming a Christian, would not, I would default to the scientific argument for gratitude and the significance behind gratitude and all of that. And that is, there's a lot, there's truth to that. It is very evidential that you are, that there is a chemical science, a scientific chemical response that happens in the brain, in the body, when you are grateful, when you express or experience gratitude. But on top of that is this physical, I don't know if we lost Ant or not. um Looks like I'm still live, so we'll keep going. um so, you know, on top of that piece, you also have um the spiritual side and the spiritual implication of that attitude of gratitude. It's like, I'm gonna see how far and how high we can get the cornball factor here. But what that spiritual, the spiritual side of understanding the finer points of why we are grateful and why gratitude is so significantly important to the conversation. And that's on an everyday, that's on an everyday sort of thing. That's on a, yes, that there is, I understand and agree largely with the experience, or with the uh position, I guess, that I don't appreciate Thanksgiving because we should be grateful every day. And I agree. I absolutely agree. I'm the type of person that, like, you know, my wife and I don't really do Valentine's Day for that exact reason. But it's this, it's taking advantage of the day, like we talked about, in a fast-paced, keep going world, especially in a post 2020 world. But I want to take the moment to allow for the concept to come out of what does this look like if you don't have a standard family experience. You know, one of the biggest things that I can be honest about during the time that during a large section of the time that I didn't really have that family support experience, all of those kinds of things, is that I largely closed myself off to relationships as a whole. And one of the best things that you can do if you don't have the support of family is to try and, how do I say this? To and this is not a matter of, oh, just this is easy to do, But this is I understand that I understand the weight of what I'm saying. But connecting with people, connecting with individuals, connecting with your group of people, friends, if you do not have that family factor, then that's not then find somebody that you can connect with, because that connection piece and that community piece is very, very important. That's kind of the moral of the story when you're talking about the significance of a day like Thanksgiving, or like this kind of more familially oriented. I do believe Ant is having trouble rejoining. Okay. Um so it's only been a half hour. Guys, be on the lookout wherever you're watching. Hold tight for 2 minutes. There's going to be a new stream on all of the places. I'm going to be back. I'm going to recreate this so that way Ant can join us. Be back in a second.